Welcome to another edition of Wednesday Web Chat. This is Carl Lewis, your host, and today we're going to begin a series about the Crystal Reports basics. So here and there over the next number of weeks, we'll be looking at just a number of things related to Crystal Reports, all of them in and of themselves, not complex, but when taken together, a sizable amount of information. So today we're going to focus actually on getting a connection. So as you can imagine, I have SAP Business One running here in the background. So we will want that just because we'll take a look at something we can do relative to Business One and Crystal Reports, of course. But I'm going to start up Crystal Reports and take you through some basic fundamentals here about um, getting a connection to the Business One database with Crystal Reports Designer. So the Designer, of course, is a separate installation, and when it is installed, it installs in the Business One directory typically, so it is there with SAP and all of its icons available. As you can see, I've arranged it in Windows 10 that I have them all here in one location. So just clicking on the Crystal Reports icon will open up the Designer for me. And I want you to also notice something else once we get a report established, just so you'll know about the SAP Crystal Reports add-in, if you don't already. So today we're going to do it in a very manual basis. So once the designer here is open and the main screen, you have a start a new report section, and I'm just going to choose a very basic format to create a blank report from scratch. So I'm clicking on blank report, and here I am taken to the database expert. Now, Crystal Reports remembers, the last 10 or so connections, but none of them are live. I know they're not live because there's no little electrical plug on any of them, so I have to create a new one to start this particular report. And that's really the emphasis of this little lesson today. So here we go with that. And let me just open up something. There we are. So to create a new connection, I just click on this little plus sign right here. And you see there's lots of different types of connections that we can have for other databases and other ERP applications and things like that. And the old one that we used to use before version 8.8, which is quite a while now, was OLEDDADO. That's a typical Microsoft SQL database connection for Crystal Reports Designer. But since the integration, SAP did a great job since they purchased Business Objects and got along with it Crystal Reports Designer. They created a special one for SAP Business One, simply called SAP Business One. So I click on the plus sign, and I get this SAP Business One connection details window. So you will need to know the name of your SAP Business One server, and the license server typically is your SAP Business One server, a colon, and 30,000. Now there's a very small chance that your port number, that's what this is, the 30,000 is different, but it's unlikely. You'll also need to always remember what server type, this is SQL server type, you have, 2008, 2012, 2014, or perchance SAP Business One HANA. So my SQL server type on this machine we're using is SQL Server 2014. Once you've done that and all the answers are correct at that point, you should be able to hit this little drop-down arrow, and it'll bring up a list of your databases, and there is mine, SBO Demo US. And since the integration piece, you only need a couple of things. Number one, your SAP Business One username, which is manager, and my password, and that's all. In addition to two things, you have to have a professional license, and the user that you're logging in with, in this case manager, must be marked as a super user in SAP Business One. So username, password in SAP Business One, professional license, and super user in SAP Business One. Now, just to take a little look there, so you can see that what makes this work in Business One, under administration, I believe it's setup, general, and users. There we go. And if I locate here the manager, there he is. So you can see that the manager user record has this super user box checked. And if I go to licenses under administration and license administration and locate the manager, the manager right there has to have a professional user license. So those things are important. Otherwise, you don't have access to the database. So now back to Crystal Reports. Once we have these things set properly, right? The Business One server, the license server, our SQL version type, server type, company database that I want to log into to create a report in, and a company user ID from SAP Business One and password, I can simply click Finish. Notice right here, this SAP Business One that was a plus sign has been expanded. It has attached to the server and to my database. So now if I want to put tables into my database, for instance, I can expand the SBO Demo US database, and I've got several things. I can use the table structure, which is something special that SAP has put together for us, so that this looks just like the menu. So if I know where to find it in SAP Business One, I know where to find it in Crystal Reports. Right? Today, I'm going to do it just a little differently. I'm going to expand that SBO Demo database. I'm going to shrink up the B1 tables and go to the database objects DBO tree and tables, because I actually know the tables that I want to go to. So I'm going to add 3 tables, OCRD, and I'm just typing those letters very quickly so it can find them in the list, and then I'm going to hit the little arrow and add OCRD to my table. I also want OCRG, and it's putting OCRG into the right side of the screen. And the last one I want is OSLP, and I'm going to add that. Now, just for your information, OCRD is business partners, OCRG is card groups, and OSLP is sales employees. So Crystal gives me that additional information as well. Now I can take a look always at how Crystal Reports has put these tables together and link them together. So it does the links automatically for me, which is wonderful. And I like those, of course. So I'm just going to say, OK. Now over here in my Field Explorer, I'm going to move something out of my way here. It won't let me actually, but there we are. So in my Field Explorer, it's called, and if you ever can't see this on the screen, you can go to View, Field Explorer, and it should come up. If ever these types of screens like Field Explorer won't appear for you, then you go to View Toolbars, and you click this little bottom button, Reset All Toolbars, click OK, and then restart Crystal Reports, and the toolbars will appear. Sometimes they have a tendency to get trapped on other screens, and that's the way to reset everything to defaults, of course. So now I want to add some data to my report. Since I have a connection, right, there they are. There's my 3 tables up here under database fields. Each one of them has many, many fields in it that I can add to my report. I'll show you another way to add information to the report when we do a connection the second time, just for practice. The first thing I always like to do is put everything into landscape mode, just because I seem to always need additional space in creating a report. So there I'm going to click landscape and OK, and get a little more distance here on my report. So from OCRD, what I'm going to want is I'm going to get my customer's name, the card name, and I want to get also probably the phone number. There we go. I have the phone number. I'm going to look for the contact person, see if I can find them here. Usually they're in this list someplace. There it is, contact person. Right, I'm going to add the contact person. I want to know also what their current balance is, let's say. So I could look for the balance. There it is, balance. I'm going to stick that over here on the right side. Give myself a little more room. And I want to know from the other tables that I pulled in here, I have some other information that I want, so I'm going to collapse OCRD. I'm going to expand OCRG, which is my group. So what customer group is this in? This customer from, for instance? So here's the group name out of OCRG. Right, there we go. I think I'll make that one just a little bit smaller. And then from OSLP, which is my salesperson's table, I want to know the name of the salesperson that we've assigned to this customer. Right? So there we go. Might have to squeeze this one in there a little bit to make it neater. There we go. So now I'm going to just go to View and Print Preview, and you can see pretty easily that I have pulled some information into this little report because I have a connection to my database. Now, obviously, there's a lot more designing that can go into this report from the standpoint of putting in a logo, straightening up the titles across the top here. All of that stuff is doable. I do most of that type of work here, and you can double click into these fields, for instance, and just change the titles that are here so that they make a little more sense to you. Pretty easy to do that, and don't need to have long expressions to make the report make sense. I have a new keyboard that I'm still figuring out how to use here. And of course, salesperson. There you go. And of course, I can select all of these fields, just control left click to select them all. And I can do basic formatting and things of that nature. So if I want to do something like put a logo inside of the report header, that's what this stands for, report header, page header, details row, report footer, and page footer. If I want to put in a logo, for instance, so here's, I can go to Insert, Picture, and I'm going to go to my desktop where I think I have something. What did I do? It's from my Crystal Reports class. Here's some graphics files. I'm going to put this one here. It attaches it to my cursor, and I can drop the Business One logo right there. Over here, I have special fields, and I can look for a page reference. So here's page 1 of 2. I can put that there. Maybe I want that bold also. How about if I want to put a title in the report? How about if I insert a text object and simply put customer balance report? Right there we go. And make it bigger. Kind of fill in the space. Got it too big if I want to make it bold. There we go. So now what happens if I take a look at it? I go to View. Actually, I don't even have to do that. I can just go back here to my Preview tab and see the changes that I've made to that report very quickly. Now, there's one thing I want you to notice here that I might want to do. So I have negative numbers in here. That's telling me that I have more than just customers. I probably have in here leads, and I have vendors as well. So I might want to add a little filter. So I could go to my report menu and select expert, and by records, I can take a look at, I'll notice card code is not in the fields that are in the body of my report, or I should say card type. So customers, vendors, right? They're either a C, an L, or an S for vendor. So, but I know that I have that field right here, card type, in my OCRD table. And so I'm going to select that card type field, click OK, and a little wizard comes on the screen, and I can simply say card type is equal to, and then if I use the drop down, I get my choices. I'm going to just ask for customers only. OK. And I'll just use the save data, and now you can see my report is a lot smaller. So because I've just filtered for just customers. So lots of other things we could do, but I wanted to show a basic connection and a very basic report of customer balances, just so you get the idea that there's no magic here. It's just learning how to do it. Now, let's close this report. I'm going to show you one other way to get this type of information. So let's go to, we'll exit Crystal Reports. We're not going to save the information. And I am going to go back and start Crystal Reports again. Here we go. Opening Crystal Reports Designer one more time. Up to this point, the same process, a blank report. And remember, we create a new connection using the SAP Business One connection type. Only thing I need to change here is my SQL version for my server type. Select my company database, of course. Here we are. I have my username, put in my password, and finish. Now I get a connection. This time I'm going to do something a little different though. Remember we expanded the database here previously, and I went out to the DBO section and to tables and selected 3 tables. This time I'm going to show you how to use an existing query in SAP Business One as the basis for a report. So the first thing we're going to do is, instead of going here to the tables and stuff like that, we're going to click right here on this little add command. Double click, and it's going to open a dialog box for us. So you can see it there on the screen. What I'm going to do now is go switch over to Business One, and we're going to go get an existing query. So under Tools, Queries, Query Manager, I have one already prepared here in my general category called Command Example. So this is just a little query that runs. And if you notice, it has here the customer name, it has the contact, the phone number, their account balance, their credit limit, the group name, and even the salesperson. So I want to use that as the basis of this command in Crystal Reports. Instead of using all the tables, 3 different tables, I can just use this query and only have these fields available. So I need to put it in edit mode by clicking on the little pencil, come inside, and I can simply select and right-click, copy that query and its contents, right, just the query itself. And I can then come out here into Crystal Reports again, and in this window, right-click and paste. And that is all I need to do. So it's copied the query and pasted it to the Crystal Reports add command to the report screen, and click OK. And now that I've got it here, that little command, I'm going to say OK one more time. And now up here in my Field Explorer, I have that command and just the fields that were available. So again, I can do pretty much the same thing. I want to put it into landscape mode. Here we are. Give it some more space. Here's my card name out of the query. Here's the contact person. Here's a phone number. We'll put the balance over here. The credit line. The group name. And the salesperson's name. I'm trying to squeeze them in here so you can see all of it with one line. There we are. And now if I go to my view menu, just like we did before, print preview, you can see that I have the same information. But if you remember, the query already filtered for customers, so I don't have to do the filter like I did before. But they're all there, and I have a lot more stuff in my report Field Explorer because I just used a query. So that was our quick lesson today about getting a connection in SAP's version of Crystal Reports for SAP Business One. And in one of the upcoming weeks, we'll have another simple lesson about how to do something in Crystal Reports. Thanks for attending Crystal Reports today. Let me just check and see if I've got any questions here. I might have, and I can check to see if anything I can answer. Let's see. Yes, it is recorded, and it'll be available in about a week. I'll put it out there in a special 2016 Crystal Reports Basics folder, so we'll be able to see them. As always, this is the Total Care Customer Resources SharePoint site where they're posted. In the email that comes out to you each week, there is the link and the username and the password to that. If you have trouble finding it in about a week's time, just send me an email, carl.lewis@vision33.com, and I'll help you find it directly. No problems. Once the report has been saved in SAP Business One, anyone can run the report inside of SAP Business One. So let me give you a very quick explanation for that and show you how it's done. So all you have to do is to save a report in Business One is, remember I mentioned to you at the outset, there's a little thing called the add-ins. So if the Crystal Report add-in for Business One has been installed, right, it's subsequent to installing SAP Business One, then Crystal Reports Designer, and then the add-in gets installed for Crystal Reports, then that menu shows up right here in Crystal Reports. So one way you can get this into SAP Business One for other users is to go to Add-ins, SAP Business One, and we can even preview it in Business One to see what will it look like in SAP Business One to other users. So it's waiting for this little external add-in to go. There, it did it. And so one nice thing about this is you can check to be sure you've got enough room in all of your fields, right? So we don't. So what I might do is come back to my report in Crystal Designer, and I could make sure that phone number doesn't need to be that big. Obviously, it wasn't taking up that much space. I'll shrink it up. Maybe move my balance field over here and expand it this way a little bit. Here we go. And then I can move my credit line field over this way a little bit. And then I can go back to add-ins, SAP Business One, preview in SAP Business One. And now it looks like everyone would be able to see all the information. That's great. So well, the next thing I can do is back in Crystal Reports again, my add-ins menu, SAP Business One, and I can go to Save As. Now it's going to ask me for my license server. Let's see if I can remember all this stuff. There we go. I connected to my server. It knows my database now, and I'm just putting in the password, which this is SAP Business One stuff, right? There we go. So now it brings me up to this Save As, and I'm saving it in my OEC computer database. I give it a name. I'm going to call it Test. I have to tell it it is a report, not a layout, and it double checks to be sure that I don't have one with that same name already. Right? And I'm going to say OK. And that operation has succeeded. So now if I go back to SAP Business One and I go to Administration, Setup, General, Report and Layout Manager, I come here to the Report and Layout Manager. First thing I'm going to do is hit the refresh button. And Business One takes those reports and puts them in an area called Lost Reports. So from here, I can actually run the report. There the report is run. All right, so I can see that it's working, and I can put it where I want to in the system. It doesn't have a menu location right now, so I'm going to take it here and put it up under Sales AR, Sales Reports is where I'm going to put it, and say, OK. Now it's got a menu location, and I can update and click OK. So now if I come out to Sales AR and Sales Reports in the menu, here's my test report, and I can double-click it, and it will execute inside of Business One. Now that's one way to get it into Business One. Let me show you the other way to get it into Business One. Say someone sends you a report. So I'm going to take this report and save it as an RPT file, this time, File, Save As in Crystal Reports, and I'm going to call this Sample Test Report, right? There we go. And I need to put it someplace. I'm going to put it in my Documents folder, and let's see what else I've got here. Let's put it in my Documents folder. That'll work. And save. So it's going to be called Sample Test. It'll add the RPT extension automatically and save it. I'll even close Crystal Reports now. Come back to Business One. I want to just go out here and validate that I actually have that little report out here. There it is, Sample Test in my Documents folder. So that's good. I'm going to go back to Administration, Setup, General, Report and Layout Manager. Now this is the second way to get a report into Business One, is click the Import button and follow through this little wizard. So I would click Next. It says, where's the report you want to import? Hit the Browse button, go to my Documents folder where I placed it, Sample Test Report, open. Now I tell it here, it's a report. Now I'm going to tell it where to put it. So I'm going to put it in my sales reports folder again, the same location I put it previously with a different name, and click OK. And over here, click Finish. I actually have one already in the system, so I'm going to rename it and call it Sample Test 2. How's that? And we'll put it in there. And it comes up with a little system message that tells me it happened successfully and close. So now I can cancel out of the Report and Layout Manager, come out to Sales AR and my Sales Reports folder, and here is Sample Test 2. Double click and it runs inside of Business One. So nice question there about how do other users get to it, and glad to show you before we come to the end of today's session. Thanks again for attending our session today, and just be sure there are a couple of additional questions. No, you do not need a professional user license to run the report in Business One. Any user can run the report in Business One if you give them authorizations to do so. And putting the report in Business One obviously doesn't break its connection. It keeps its connection. Even taking a report that was created in another system, like mine, and importing it into your system, like I showed you, will automatically connect it to your database. So it's a very nice little thing that SAP has given us, and sadly, far too few people understand how easy it is to put a report in their system. So we're going to have another lesson in the next few weeks about how to import and export reports. That'll be one of the topics of our Crystal Reports Basics. Call today a nice little preview about that. Thanks again for attending, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on another edition of Wednesday Web Chat.